So we are getting ready and geared up for the Anthony Joshua versus Joseph Parker fight. And, I just want to give my final take, my final assessment on the fight. They just had their recent final press conference. Both guys look extremely in shape already. Parker, you can tell, has trimmed down tremendously. Anthony Joshua as well. But again, we know what's going to happen. These overnight weight gains. These guys are going to come in fit and fairly big guys. In the height advantage obviously goes to Anthony Joshua. The power advantage, Anthony Joshua. And we just have to see how these guys look on fight night as far as weights. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about me assessing the chances and just my overall, what I think is going to happen in the fight. This is just going to be my, I guess, fuck it. Let's make it a prediction fight video. So let's break it down. Joseph Parker, he has tremendous speed, very good reflexes. These combination punches tend to be repetitive. I don't see that much versatility in his combination punches. You normally can tell he's going to throw 3 or 4 or 5 left hooks, or not really left hooks, but hooks. Throws a very good uppercut, decent jab. My problems with Parker is that Parker tends to fall in love with just combination punch. He stays there just a tad bit too long. He gets a little bit too greedy against punchers, and then he ends up getting clocked with something that was unnecessary. In this fight against Anthony Joshua, his back cannot touch the ropes. He cannot touch the ropes for the first 6 rounds. If he's going to have any success in this fight, he's going to have to keep turning Anthony Joshua. He needs to establish a jab. He needs to be first. You have to be first with Anthony Joshua. If you are first, you force Anthony Joshua to be gun shy. You force him to be reactive instead of proactive. And if you can do that, you can nullify Anthony Joshua's offense. One of the things I like about Parker is the fact that Parker, his footwork is underrated. See, the thing about Parker is that Parker tends to get into these things where he does like brain numbing things, like backing straight up. Can't do that. Okay, I want to see a lot of head movement from Parker. I want to see him constantly turning Anthony Joshua. Easier said than done, I know. I want to see him throwing combination punches. He cannot allow Anthony Joshua to outwork him. He must outwork. Okay, and this is why fitness is important for this fight for Joseph Parker. He needs to be in tip-top shape, okay? He needs to mix up his attack, go down to the body, go to the head. Feints. I want to see feints on the inside. I do not want to see him stand straight up after throwing a combination, because he will get lit up by Anthony Joshua. One thing Anthony Joshua does well, okay, is Anthony Joshua, he can process his opponent's tendencies very, very quickly. That's one of the things that helped him fight Klitschko, because when he processed it, Klitschko was just looking for that hook, and then he kept throwing the uppercut and looking for the hook, or feinting and looking for the hook. That's one thing I commended Anthony Joshua for, is that he picked up on something that had been a strategy of Klitschko's for years and other pros hadn't picked up on. So Parker has to be alert, and he cannot commit fully until the second half of the fight. He must pull this fight into the middle part of the fight. Anthony Joshua tends to slow down tremendously after about the 4th, 5th round. All right, and he gets sloppy. And also, Anthony Joshua tends to take this it's really odd. He takes almost like he's peekabooing. He's looking, trying, I guess he calls it his own particular type of feint, where he pokes his head out. First of all, he doesn't have head movement, which is dangerous, but he pokes his head out, and he's looking to get you into place, to put you into a position where he can establish his shots. He doesn't overcommit all that often, and so therefore he's trying to position you so he can counter you. The thing about Parker is, in the best disadvantage Parker is at, is his power. I don't see Parker having enough tools to just go in there in the first few rounds and just establish this monstrous, thunderous power and strength that would keep Anthony Joshua scared and not offensive. So this is why he needs to have a battle plan of phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Phase 1 being that he nullifies, changes the looks, keeps Anthony Joshua constantly thinking. He doesn't stay in that mid-range where Anthony Joshua is great at. He's really good at the mid-range game. So you don't stay at that mid-range area. You stay to the outside. You frustrate him. You feel your back is against the ropes. Do not back straight up. Do not lean back against the ropes, okay, Parker, because you tend to get hit with straight shots that way. Slide off the ropes. Be conscious of the hooks coming from Anthony Joshua. Be conscious of the uppercut, okay? When you're in the inside, that's what scares me about Parker. Is that Parker tends to stand straight up. If he stands straight up and he's just sitting up there after throwing shots, Joshua will hit him with an uppercut that's going to knock his head off, okay? You can't do that. You have to be alert. Phase 2, go to the body. Go to the body. You know, I watch fights with Anthony Joshua, and very rarely do fighters go to the body. Primarily, they're worried about getting hit with an over-the-top shot. Parker has the speed that he can get to the body quick enough and get out of that mid-range where the counter shot from Anthony Joshua is coming. You got to make sure you do that, man. If you don't invest into the body, go to the head, then this fight is going to be worthless in the later half of the fight. And the phase 3 is that once Anthony Joshua slows down, which he will, and which he has had stamina issues his whole career, then you start to do what I consider, and you know, I know if he's watching, the Billy Joe Saunders effect. The Billy Joe. What Billy Joe Saunders did to David Lemieux, that's what you got to do. You got to dance on him. You got to frustrate him. When he's tired, he's going to get reckless. And Anthony Joshua gets sloppy. He gets very, very sloppy, and he doesn't have head movement. And when he gets tired, he tends to drop his hands. He tends to freeze his hands as well. He tends to fall into the trap of being reactive. This harkens back to why I said in the beginning of this video, Parker has to force him to be reactive all night. He cannot allow AJ to dictate the space and the amount of the punch output. You have to make Anthony Joshua gun shy. You won't make Anthony Joshua gun shy with just sheer power. How you do it is you constantly change the looks, okay? You hook off your jab. You throw an uppercut. You make him think. He doesn't like those things. That's one of the reasons why when he fought Carlos Takam, right? And both of these guys fought Carlos Takam. If you pay attention and you watch the fight where he fought Carlos Takam was a tough, rugged dude. He smothered a lot of what Anthony Joshua was able to do. He took away that mid-range, but he was always conscious of the return fire and hooks coming over the top. That's what you have to do, okay? You cannot be lazy in there with Anthony Joshua. And my fear is that Joseph Parker is going to end up getting lazy, doing little tendency things. It's kind of like Danny Jacobs when he fought Gennady Golovkin. Beautiful fight. But when he was on the inside, he would get lazy and stand straight up and wouldn't be aware of what was coming on the inside. You can't do that with Anthony Joshua. You have to be, you got to keep your head on the swivel, as they say. Okay? You must maintain, and your eyes, your ears, your reflex, everything has to be on point. Parker has to have the perfect fight, pretty much essentially, for him to win this fight. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. What did you think of the breakdown? What did you think of my position on it? What do you see as the reasons why Parker could win the fight? And what does he have to do to win the fight? And what do you think that Anthony Joshua has to do to win the fight? I think Anthony Joshua, all he needs to basically do is just be Anthony Joshua. Basically, control the mid-range. Don't overcommit. Do not overcommit. Anthony Joshua tends to overcommit a lot, and fighters don't take advantage of it. And primarily, maybe it's because they're not big punchers. Also, you have to punch with Joshua, which is very dangerous. But if you're quick enough to get to the target before he can, you can actually do some damage. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm out.